We're told that there were 13 colonies, and they kind of came west, and they like chopped down some trees and created civilization. That's not true. They came west, they hit California, New Mexico, Colorado, they hit missions, they hit businesses, they hit governments, and many of those were Spanish speaking.
Alrighty folks, welcome back to the zoo, and now we're gonna get educational with Ms. Francella Chi De Chinchilla from the Friends of the American Latino Museum. Bienvenida.
Thank you, gracias, thank you.
We're gonna take it slowly, alright? A la una, a la dos, a la tres. Wow.
I love your jacket.
Thank you. This is the third compliment I've gotten for this
Well, when
jacket.
you're involved in art, you gotta like throw artsy stuff on, right? Is there a pressure to do that?
Of course. Well, the truth is, in Washington, D.C., there's not a lot of fashion. Oh. So yeah, when you do come in with something like this, you get a little eye-catching.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, so you're part of the Friends of the American Latino Museum. So tell us about the American Latino Museum and what is you're trying to do with this campaign with some of these things that we have.
Thank you. Yes, I brought a couple of our signage right now.
Presente.
Yeah, One Nation Presente. That's our campaign for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Nice.
So here's what we're trying to do. Currently, there is no American Latino history, exhibits, presence on the National Mall. So if any of you go to DC right now and you go to our major incredible museums that we have in DC, you will not find a permanent exhibit dedicated to the over 500 years of history.
Wait, and explain to people what the National Mall is. It's not like I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna go shopping for like a sweater.
When I first moved to DC, it would confuse me all the time.
Oh, like
going
a
to the
National
mall or what?
Okay, let's get those savings.
We call it the nation's front yard.
Okay.
It's that beautiful greenery where it has the Washington Monument on one side, Capitol Hill, and the Lincoln Monument, the Lincoln Memorial on the other side. So you've seen the major speeches, the Martin Luther King speech, you know.
Presidents give their speech
Inauguration.
Yes.
All the museums from the Smithsonian, many of them, not all of them, many of them are all right there too.
Are there other minorities that have their museums or museum exhibits within those?
Yes, we're so happy. In 2016, the African American Museum of History and Culture just opened in 2016.
Wonderful.
It's only been about 3 years. Huge success.
Wow.
And so for us, that shows, of course, the American Latino Museum is going to be a big success.
Right.
You can't get tickets to the African American Museum. You have to sign up months in advance.
Right.
It is full. And they broke records. They broke cafeteria records, gift shop records.
Wow.
It is full.
Right. You know what's interesting is that you're putting American Latino in there to remind them, you know, not only do we have, culture here from various Latin heritage, but they need to start understanding that the United States of America is a Latin nation.
Absolutely. That's something that, we don't, growing up in our history classes and our history books, we really didn't see ourselves in those stories. We're told that there were 13 colonies, and they kind of came west, and they chopped down some trees and created civilization. That's not true. They came west, they hit California, New Mexico, Colorado, they hit missions, they hit businesses, they hit governments, and many of those were Spanish speaking.
Wow.
So there was already a civilization here that is and was America, but we're not told that.
Right.
We're taught a different story.
Right.
And so one of the reasons we have a lot of success on the Hill, because the way you get a Smithsonian is you have to pass a bill in Congress.
Wow.
Any Smithsonian museum is free to the public. Everybody can go. Why? Because your taxpayer dollars are going to it. So Congress has to pass a bill. The other part is you have to raise some money. The reason we have a lot of success right now is because states like Texas, Arizona, Nevada, who have bipartisan leaders, senators from both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, they really want this museum.
Because?
Because if you can tell the Texas history a little bit more, a little bit better, then you're telling American Latino history better. You're elevating Texas history. So John Cornyn, our strongest champion in Congress, is a Republican, and he wants to see this museum. Martha McSally, a senator from Arizona, a female Republican, she wants to see this museum.
These people don't even sound Hispanic, and they're supporting us.
Oh, they're not.
Okay.
But they have a lot of Latino constituents, which they want to, like you said, elevate and make them feel like they're part of this country. Because so many times, many of our cultures and communities don't feel like they're part of this country when you hear some of the rhetoric that's coming from.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's something that's made a big difference in the last couple of years as well. Is we were making the link. A museum feels like a nice thing to do, right? Oh, a nice museum. There's so many important issues. Why are you fighting for a museum? Why? Because it's about representation and valuing our story. How can it be that we, the nation's 55 million American Latinos in this country, can go and learn about American history and just literally not see our contributions of 500 years of history represented, how does that make you feel?
Right.
You know, that you're not a part of it. You're not a part of the country.
Are you gonna run for office? You are. I can see you're a really good communicator. And
Thank you.
Have you ever thought about that?
No, I would never.
So you're just involved in the art scene. You're not, because you're obviously dealing with politicians, but
No, I'm in advocacy.
okay.
So basically, if we pass this bill, which is my job, is to pass this bill, then the experts, the art experts, the historians, all those people, they get to come in, and they exist now. They get to come in, and they get to decide what's going to be in it.
So the word is you're a lobbyist. But
I'm
a
a
good
lobbyist.
one. You're a good lobbyist.
No, lobbyists get such a bad rep.
I know.
No.
Because some of them are lobbyists for like not as good causes as the one that
That's
you're
true,
a lobbyist
but you
for.
also need lobbyists for good causes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So do we literally not know what kind of pieces we would see in this
Good
museum
question.
yet? Or do we have a little idea of what we could see there? Do you know?
We have a little idea.
Okay, like what could
So
we see?
for example, one of the first steps is it's called a commission report, and it's a group of people that come together and they decide what's going to be in the museum. Should we even have a museum? Where should it go? Yada yada. And in that report, they also looked at what kind of artifacts do we have, and then they included Selena's bustier.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
In American.
There's a lot of history in there, I'm
music
sure.
history, yeah. But of course, we have to start from the beginning. So I love to tell this story. Right now, we're doing our Hispanic Heritage Month campaign, One Nation Presente. And one of the things we're doing is elevating more stories. In military history, there's a story that people do not know. There's a woman, Loretta Velasquez. She's a Cuban-American woman who
Who fought in the Confederacy for the Civil War.
You
So I'm
know!
Cuban, so I know these things.
Nobody knows this. No, she was a double agent.
Yeah.
She was a woman who cross-dressed as a man so that
What?
she could be in battle, because you can't have women in battle.
Okay.
And in the Civil War. And then she was a double agent fighting
Wow.
in the Confederacy, but as a spy for the Union.
Wow.
Well, how come we all don't know who she
I have-
is?
That's
Well,
incredible.
except
That
for
should be a
Humberto.
mini-series on HBO. It's like,
Absolutely.
by the way, we have to, because time's wrapping
Yes.
up, we need to find out about your last name. It's been
Oh.
giving Dennis trouble. We were kind of talking about it before we introduced you. Is it Chi
It's Chi.
De Chinchilla?
That's right, yeah.
And explain how that, because that's an amazing last name. It's like,
Thank you.
there's a lot of chi in there. You have a lot of chi.
My whole name is actually Francella de Los Angeles Chi De Chinchilla.
¿Cómo?
My husband, I just got married earlier this year. We're having a baby
Nice.
too. His last name is Chi. My last name is Chinchilla. And when we got married, we're like, how are we going to combine these names? We want the same name. We added the de to try and do a little.
I love
I
it.
think it's great.
Latinidad.
So
Yeah.
What's the website?
artistic.
Yeah, it is.
Thank
It is
you.
artistic.
Yes, please join us at AmericanLatinoMuseum.org/presente. And you're going to figure out how we're going to be able to plug in right now and make this bill a reality. I have to say before we go, we have more co-sponsors than we've ever had ever. We're closer than we've ever been, and it's been 25 years. This could be the year that we actually pass this bill. So
Let's make it
It's the one bipartisan cause.
It really is.
thing that we can all agree on.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming. You have great hair, by the way.
Thank
Oh gosh, so many compliments.
I know.
Thank you.
Everything.
I'm doing it.